Please be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Young versus Terrell Patton.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Ms. Young, you and your daughter are here in court today to prove that your deceased common-law husband, Johnny Wallace, did not cheat on you with Ms. Terrell and father her daughter, Ms. Patton.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say once the results prove he is not Ms. Patton's father, you will sue to recoup all of the Social Security benefits from Ms. Patton that she wrongfully received after his death, totaling over $12,000.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Terrell, you say Mr. Wallace never denied your daughter, but it was you who chose to separate your daughter from Mr. Wallace's crazy lifestyle. You claim that once the DNA test proves you right, you want your daughter, Miss Patton, to be accepted by the Wallace family. Is that correct?
Yes.
So, Ms. Young, when did you first find out about Miss Patton as one of Mr. Wallace's children?
Your Honor, the jury is still out on that one. I never found out. All I know is that I've known him since I was a teenager. We lived together. He's my daughter's father. And I never knew of Kyeshia being his daughter, and still don't till this day. I found out when my kids started getting Social Security, and then a few months after that, I got a letter from Social Security indicating that someone was applying for Kyeshia Social Security for her father also. That's when I got my first knowledge that he was supposed to be her father.
So, Ms. Terrell, you say that Mr. Wallace acknowledged your daughter?
Yes.
And his family?
Yes. Me and Mr. Wallace was going with each other. We was together every day. We would go out.
Did you know he was in a relationship with Ms. Young?
Well, he had other baby mamas. He was around with all of them.
So, Ms. Patton, what was your relationship like with your alleged father, Mr. Wallace?
I didn't have a relationship with him. I saw him. I had a conversation with him, and that was pretty much it.
When you say you didn't have a relationship, he was not a part of your life?
Not consistently, no.
And you say you had a conversation with him?
Yes.
Just one?
Yes.
In your lifetime?
Yes.
What was that conversation about?
His mom picked me up. She said, "Little girl, I'm gonna take you to see your daddy today." I just sat there. We got to a house, nice big house, and we walked in. When we walked in, there was stairs, an entertainment center. When you go around the bend, it was a kitchen. We went and sat in the kitchen. I just sat there, and she like, "You okay? Why you so quiet?" I said, "I don't know what to expect."
How old are you now?
I was about 8, 9.
And so you sat there.
He came in the kitchen, he looked at me, and then he talked to my grandmother, and then he came back to me, he said, "Hey, little girl." I said, "Hey." He said, "You know who I am?" And I said, I guess. And he's like, "What does that mean?" I said, "I guess." He said, "You pretty." I said, "Thank you." And my grandmother, she said, "Tell her." And he like, just stood there. And he like, "I'm your daddy?" I said, "Are you?" And it kind of went back and forth. And he was like, "Well, I'll talk to you later. I gotta go." And he took care of some other stuff around the house, and then he shortly left after that.
He left the house?
Mm-hmm.
And you were still there?
Yes.
That encounter, and the way you remember it is, it's amazing, actually. Just a young girl, 8 years old, having that kind of encounter.
You're right.
Did you ever hear about Miss Patton?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
What did you hear?
One day, Mom said, "You know Kyeshia's supposed to be your sister." And I was like, "Yeah, right." You know, thought she was playing. She was like, "No, for real. She's supposed to be your sister." So I called my daddy on the phone, and I said, "You need to come here right now. I need to talk to you." And he came right away, and I said, "Kyeshia's supposed to be my sister." And he said, "No, she's not your sister." And I said, "Well, that's what my said." He said, "What did I tell you?" He said, "You think I wouldn't have her around you and your brothers?" And then me and him never talked about it again.
Were you told that this was definitely your father or that this may be your father?
I was told he was supposed to be my father.
In the moment when you met him and you had that conversation, and of course you're only 8 or 9, so you're a young girl, did you get the sense that he knew you were his daughter and was acknowledging that, or that he questioned whether or not you were his daughter?
It was so much back and forth. I just wanted to be a kid. And in trying to be a child, I was tormented by them.
How?
Well, he say your daddy, but we don't know. Or my thing is, at 35, I'm still living 10 years old, 12 years old. As a child, I would play with Tamika. From my knowledge, her grandmother raised her too. So maybe that's why her mother did not know or did not have the knowledge, maybe because she wasn't there to raise her child. I don't know. I know of Miss Young. I don't know her, just as she doesn't know me.
And you're saying as a young girl, you would be picked up and you would do things with Miss Stapleton?
No.
As if,
Yes.
As if you were sisters?
Yes.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. And so, Miss Stapleton, you remember these encounters?
I remember hanging out with Kyeshia, yes.
As your
We
sister?
would hang out together. She would come over, we would play. After my told me that she was supposed to be my sister, my daddy told me she wasn't my sister. It was just like I made up in my mind that, I mean, I wanted to play with her anyway. I wanted to, be friends with her. I like hanging out with her.
While you're playing, you're just doing things girls do,
Yes.
dolls and whatever. In
Yes.
your mind, you're looking at her saying, is this my sister or is
Yes,
this
it's
not?
always been a question. Just like she said, he stood there and said, you're supposed to be. Nobody really knows for certain, but I accepted it at a certain point in my life that that's what we were.
And now do you believe she's your biological sister?
I don't know if she's my biological sister.
Miss Terrell,
Yes.
Oh, man.
is Mr. Wallace's name listed on your daughter, Miss
No,
Patton's
it's
birth
not.
certificate?
No, it's not.
Nowhere on there.
No.
Is anybody on the birth certificate?
No.
As listed as father.
No.
So, Mr. Wallace, was he aware when you were pregnant with Miss Patton that this was
Yeah,
his child?
he was aware. I was a virgin when I first met Johnny Wallace. Me and him used to hang out. He used to come to my mother's house. I used to go to his grandmother's house.
Man, that was my house
Okay,
across the
listen,
street.
what I'm trying to find out is when you found out you were pregnant, did you say to him, I'm pregnant?
No, his sister already told him.
She went to the family and told him that she was pregnant. He gave her money to have an abortion, and she did away with the money however she see fit.
Okay,
Then-
but
but
Miss,
he
hold
didn't know
on,
I
Miss
was
Young,
pregnant,
but
you
then
said.
that argument would suggest
thought you
that
did-
he is her biological father.
Okay, that was after the fact I heard. Like I told you, the jury's
Our
still out on that.
great-grandmother,
I don't know who
Judge,
her daddy is.
Judge,
And then
our
apparently she don't
great-grandmother-
either.
So, Miss Patton, you ended up being entitled to Social Security benefits after Mr. Wallace's death. You're saying his family accepted you,
Yes.
and so you were listed as one of his children, and obviously
I just got free
received
government money.
benefits
Yes, ma'am.
after his death.
My great-grandmother said that when they called her and asked her, did she know anything about Kyeshia and could she be the daughter? She said, I know Kyeshia. Johnny said he gave her mother money at one point to get an abortion, and she think that they went shopping with the money. I wasn't there, but that's what she said. She told Social Security.
In a situation like that, as law, if there is a question of paternity, then a paternity test would need to be taken, correct?
No,
Before they disperse government funds
not back then.
to
It is my understanding that when they called your great-grandmother or whomever this family member was, whatever information they elicited led them to the belief that you were entitled. Now, since none of us were on that conversation, we don't know exactly what was said. But it, of course, to me, seems interesting. He's not on your birth certificate. There is question amongst the family as to whether or not you are or are not his biological child. And yet you are still collected. You collected. And so somewhere along the line, someone gave that caseworker a very strong feeling that you
Yes,
were, in
ma'am.
fact, his biological
Because
child.
they don't go
Probably
maybe.
because,
They did.
as we just heard in this courtroom via testimony between you, Miss Patton, and Miss Stapleton, you all testify to the same things. That you all were carted around and raised, at least at some point in time, like you were sisters.
No.
Yes, ma'am.
So ultimately, Ms. Stapleton and Ms. Young, as you stated in your court papers, this Social Security that they've collected has in some way affected the benefit you believe you're entitled to.
Well, if proven that she's not his child, she's not entitled to his Social Security.
She has questions in her heart. I have questions in mine.
Absolutely.
They
We
don't-
just want to
they
know.
don't claim
That's
her.
it.
They don't claim her.
Ma'am.
They would.
And so, Ms. Stapleton, you were very close to your father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
I was. My father was really hands-on with us. He was around every day, took me to school, picked me up from school. He was a part of me and my brother's life. We was always together. The man that I knew wouldn't deny any of his kids.
I just want to know if I have a question.
Did she shut up?
Please do not disrespect me no more, and I will not ask you again.
Who's she talking to?
You.
Girl, boo. Do what you do.
However,
I mean, she talking about
Ladies,
Just for me,
get
please.
Miss
knocked
Young,
Yes, ma'am.
Please.
You need to calm down.
Miss Young claimed she never knew about me. I was never accepted. I got on a flight to Savannah, Georgia, with Miss Stapleton to come and get her. If you didn't know me, if you didn't accept me, why? I can understand Miss Stapleton. She just want to know. Just like everybody else, just want to know. But all the extra drama, when you have known about me and you've chose to accept me depending on the day and the way the wind blow, now it's a problem. When you've been to my house, just like I've been to yours, so you coming sideways, why? I'm not understanding her motive. I'm not understanding her point.
I understand and I feel your confusion. That's why this courtroom exists. Because you are not the only family that is wrestling with a level of dysfunction or confusion with a paternity claim. That's why we're here. Because it leads to this. Two beautiful young girls that grew up together, playing together, are now standing on opposite sides of the aisle trying to answer questions that really adults should have answered for them long ago. But that's the beauty of what I get to do every day here is I get to provide the answers that people so desperately need, and I have the answers for you.
Thank you.
Jerome, the envelope.
Thank you, Jesus.
Jerome, we've got a lot of passion in this courtroom today.
Yes, we do.
Please stand in between plaintiffs and defendant and make sure we act like the beautiful ladies we are.
All the time.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics and they read as follows. Do you want to watch Paternity Court on TV? Go to paternitycourt.tv to find your local listings. Because we were unable to collect DNA from Mr. Wallace, we have not performed a paternity test between either young woman and Mr. Wallace. What we were able to do is to collect samples from each woman to determine if, in fact, they are related. So as I read these results, keep in mind that they are based on the presumption that Miss Stapleton is, in fact, Mr. Wallace's biological child.
Right.
In the case of Young versus Stapleton Patton, pertaining to Kyeshia Patton, it has been determined by this court, Miss Patton and Miss Stapleton, you are not related.
Already knew it.
All right.
Miss Stapleton, are you okay? I see you overcome with emotion. What are you feeling?
I just feel like we should have known this a long time ago.
Yeah.
They should have cared enough as adults to make sure that we had accurate information a long time ago.
Miss Patton, how are you feeling now?
A little relieved. I just don't have to go through it no more. And now I can move forward with my life.
Miss Terrell, I have to ask you, is there another man that could potentially be Miss Patton's
No, it's
father?
not, because I was a virgin at the time. No.
And you were never with any other man besides Mr. Wallace?
No, I started seeing someone afterward, and I took a maternity test downtown. No, he was not the father.
Is it possible, but maybe you forgot or overlooked someone?
No.
So now listen, the DNA has proven that they don't share a father.
They don't.
But it doesn't necessarily preclude Mr. Wallace from being Miss Patton's father if he's not Miss Stapleton's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you certain, beyond a shadow of a doubt?
Yes, ma'am. I am 1,000% certain that Johnny Wallace is Tamika Stapleton's biological father.
One of the reasons why we provide answers, it's not just about clarity. Of course, that is the first step. But it's about now, what do you do with the clarity? Can you treat each other with another level of respect? Maybe we two, we don't share a father. But we've shared some really wonderful times. If you need to make a phone call, if you need to talk, I hope that you all will be there for one another. We have counseling and resources for you to help you. Please take advantage of them. I wish you all the very best of luck. Court is adjourned.